What's happening? Andy here. I am joined by Brian Woodman of Kelley Connect out in Kent, Washington, is it? Are you guys up
Yep.
in, I know you're up in the Northwest. How are you, Brian?
Doing very well. Thanks for having me on, Andy.
Thanks for being on. Just wanted to find out what's happening. We are doing a production print month. We've got a lot of some of the big mega dealers on there, and you guys are one of the ones on that list. Let's get a little background on who Kelley Connect is, who's Kelley Connect, and where are you guys located, and then what do you do for them?
Yeah, I mean, Kelley Connect is a privately owned technology company. We're very diversified in our offerings, more so in the last 5 years, but heavily, of the percent of revenues that we do, a lot of that comes still from the print side. So my role with inside of the organization is I'm the vice president of sales and recruitment. So I spend a lot of time on the roads and looking for talent and trying to get engaged in the larger opportunities.
Well, you guys are a big one up there in the Northwest. I spent some time on your website, and if your website's behind, that's not my fault. But my understanding, from what I could see, 34 locations, 6 states. You guys have quietly and sometimes not so quietly, but lately we'll have to have a chat with Eric because not everything is published. You guys have been sneakily buying companies for the last couple of years and growing that footprint. I happened to go on a family vacation all the way up in the middle of nowhere, Alaska, and I posted a picture, and Eric said that's one of our places. So you literally are everywhere up there. And tell me a little bit about Kelley Connect. You're not one of the traditional dealers that's going coast to coast. You've really got a focus and a specific footprint up there. How have you guys built what you've done? And then let's get a little bit into production print. We'll have some questions for you in that area.
Yeah, I mean, we've just a lot of acquisition and recruitment, and so as we've looked, we want to saturate the Pacific Northwest. That's been our model. That's our intent. We don't plan to go any further. That's where we want to saturate that market. And we've seen a lot of change in different manufacturers go to market strategies. There's been some hiccups back in the day when Rico, acquired Icon, afforded us some opportunities at that point when it came to recruitment with folks that maybe weren't as excited about the new model that they found themselves in from a service and support standpoint. So we have a very decentralized model. We have obviously those 30, I think it's 35 branches now, but like you said, that hasn't been updated on the website yet. But we try to bring the resources to the local level and the local communities that we support so that we can respond quickly with competency and have the tools in hand that's needed to be able to give a good client experience.
So one of the things I know, I've seen you guys all over the place. There's been a whole bunch of dealer shows. I've seen Eric and the team out at some of these shows. We talked before we came on. You sent a crew down to Print United was just within the last couple of weeks. So what kind of cool stuff did you guys see down there? Anything interesting? Did they bring anything back to you that they were excited about?
I mean, they're over the moon excited about everything that they saw, but honestly, we haven't had an opportunity yet to debrief. Our model is very much we use subject matter experts to complement the sales experience with the client, and so we sent some analysts and some SMEs down there that focus on applications and live in that color gamut, if you will. And so we haven't got into all the cool new toys and widgets and all the want items that they want to bring into the arsenal. But there's a high level of enthusiasm for sure. So we're certainly looking forward to getting through the end of this month so we can have a kickoff next month and talk about some of that stuff.
Well, that debriefing we didn't go. I had some conflicts, but obviously ran all the press releases and videos that were released during the week, and it was a lot of stuff, a lot of really cool products, a lot of cool software workflow. For an industry that's sort of in some ways is maybe sliding a little bit downhill. Production print, packaging, some of these areas are still exploding. Just the mailbox. I know when I come home every day, there's just a ton of stuff, and it's highly targeted. It's not just randomly hoping that I'm looking for a guy to or a company to maybe do my roof. This is very specific to me, very specific to things that I've bought before. Do you get into that kind of stuff? Are you at that level where you're variable data and targeted marketing? Do you guys work in that arena?
Yeah, I mean, the variable data and the targeted marketing, and we've done quite a bit of, I can't remember what our marketing team is using, if it's Marketo or some of those, but there's a lot of Zoom Info USA information that we're using to get out there to create opportunities for engagement. But yeah, there's just so much as you take. I mean, we take a look at the verticals that we're having success, and we go through our own databases and say, hey, where are we succeeding? What are we really good at in all of the things that we do, and then we really target that to go in because for us, that proof of concept and source sell, for somebody who is a client that's happy versus just the salesperson coming out and having a story to tell, it really holds water, and it's a good effort. We've had good results from it.
So one of the things I think that, we wanted to talk to you guys about is your production print, right? And that's just sort of been this quiet, maybe not so quiet little monster up there in Kent, Washington, where you guys have a lot of really good partners. One of them has asked me to do this interview, so we're going to talk a little bit about Xerox specifically.
Sure.
But how have you grown? How have you pulled together all of these, let's call them independent, smaller dealers, and built them into, one company, Kelley Connect, with a common offering, with a production print, and maybe focusing specifically on some of these verticals that you mentioned. How does production print fit into this, and how have you kind of taken it to all those satellite companies that you've brought into your mothership?
I think the shift, like you talked about, with I don't want to say that it's dying, that print's dying, but there's a lot of it. COVID was huge, right? I mean, it accelerated things for a lot of folks, and maybe some of the folks that were thinking they're going to work for another 10 years saw their annuities decreasing. And so when we're having conversations with folks, we've been growing at a 30+% clip rate, which has been pretty phenomenal, but it's very diversified, through our IT services, our PS offerings, but production's been a huge part of our growth. And we have these conversations with the owners, and they see our model and they look at the investment in people and resources that we have on staff to support the effort. It really holds water because they're fighting every day against the big guys. They don't have the resources and the means to compete. And so it becomes very hard if you're commoditized, or it's a price-driven sale. And so that's kind of been our messaging. And then recruitment's been huge. Obviously we're decentralized. We're in touch with our communities out there. We have a lot of touches going on, so we know where the bodies are buried. We know who's good, and sometimes maybe it's a technical resource that the client's relationship with is with, not a salesperson, right? And so we go after that tech. We have conversations, we have coffee. I have a hot list of people all the time that I'm always talking to, and some of those folks take years and some of them take months, and it's just a matter of kind of getting to that level where they open their ears and they listen, they hear the vision, and then they're willing to share some of the challenges that are going on in their life. And 1-800 centralized go-to-market strategies in small town USA doesn't always work, right? And so we're trying to bring a more customer-friendly experience at the local level, and then bring a lot of talent in around that. So
I had considered that, where one of the things, I guess, companies that are considering selling themselves, they'll look to you and to some of the others out there and say, what are the products that they bring to the table? What are they in that I'm not in right now, that, maybe I always wanted to be in, but didn't want to spend that kind of money? And obviously production is one of those things, right? It's production, it's managed services. These are really great peripheral areas for a company that sells office equipment, but they're super expensive to get into there, and there's a great return on it once you get going, but once it takes a little while to get up to speed. And so you're up to speed, right? You've got, like we mentioned, some great partners. Tell us, let's dive in a little bit on the production part of this. What is it that makes Kelley kind of unique? What's your value prop that brings Kelley to the forefront when we talk production print? Why are you one of the, what we'll call them, elite dealers in that space?
I think honestly, it's the investment that we made in the people. When you look in production accounts, uptime is everything, and these people are it's mission critical applications. Sometimes it's a lot of relationships and money that's on the line. The investment in the back end to support it, and the redundancy at the local level to not just have one, production tech that's covering this wide geography, and I'll get back to you in a week, but have 2 or 3 folks at the local level as a team. It brings more comfort, I think. And then on the front end, we've invested in some analysts that are top level, that are recruited over, that, their ability to look at workflow and be able to have conversations outside of the box has been, you pair all that together, and it brings some comfort in the fact that, hey, we've got great partners, like you said. They're not all Xerox. Xerox has been great. They were first at the table. But at the end of the day, if I'm only leaning on, I'm not leaning on that label, right? I'm leaning on the competency and the technical expertise, and then the parts availability and buying forward because we're privately held. We're using common sense business strategies so that we have the tools in place to execute, deliver on the expectations that we set. So that's a lot of it.
Yeah, well, I mean that's a lot to kind of chew on right there, and you look at what you guys have done in the investment, and that's taken you to a level that most other dealers aren't at, but a lot of them are starting to look at, right? So Xerox has a big push to bring dealers into this Iridesc program, and you are one of the few that are in it, and you actually sell these products, right? I mean, these are the tip top I guess digital press that Xerox has. It's a xerographic device. It's laser, right? And it's pretty much the highest level device that a dealer, a traditional office equipment dealer, can sell. And you guys have been selling it now for a little while. So what is it? It's obviously the investment that you had to make, but in selling that product, is it what does that bring to the table for your customers? You've got something unique, you've got something different. What are your customers like about buying that from you versus maybe traditional ways that they'd bought it in the past?
I feel like I'm just on repeat, honestly, but you're able to go so much deeper when you have people that have that kind of background. One of my analysts on that product that we have has got 30 years of experience with the Xerox product. He owns his own print shop, right? And so he's got practical knowledge, he's got classroom knowledge, he's passionate, understands that product. And so, looking at application-based selling and then trying to expand the client's mind outside of just what is in front of what they're thinking of right now, and looking at all the other offerings and all the other things they could do to drive additional revenue for their organization has been a huge part of it. And then we also have invested in some media expertise, and we bought a company called MTM out of Portland, and Mark and Trish Meyer have got 40 years of expertise on specialty medias. And so when you start looking at what that can bring to the table and the costing and the availability and the knowledge, and you marry that with the software, it just changes the conversation. Because I'll tell you right now, we've got partners that are less expensive and they have some great technology. Xerox, can be a little proud of their technology. They always have been, right? But when you bring those people to you just kind of table the money and let's talk about the opportunity. Let's talk about the challenges, and then obviously having all that local infrastructure and redundancy. It's a good way to put it all together. But like you said, Andy, I mean, it's a lot of investment on the front end. It took a lot of time, and we built the back end first because we understand that in those small markets, especially, that kill references, we'd have a hard time getting it off the ground, and we needed those testimonials.
Well, no one ever bought Xerox because it was the cheapest product, right? I started my career selling it. You're selling it now. There's other reasons that people buy it, and especially when you start looking at that production level, right? They're a legend. There's several brands out there that are in that arena. Not many, actually, maybe a handful. Let's call it a handful, and you carry a majority of them, actually. But seeing you gravitate towards that Iridesc product, and then just being one of a small number of companies who can actually go out there, sell it, place it, and service it, which is huge. I know Xerox is making programs available to other dealers where they can go out there and sell it, and Xerox will help them with it. And I think depending on the dealer's capabilities, they may even help them service it. But you guys are in this position where you've been doing this on your own. You're fully capable of taking that product from beginning to end, installing it, servicing it, training the people on it, and then maintaining it. So that's, kudos to you. That's a whole different level. And you've been doing this for a long time now, right? I mean, the production print program, that's been part of Kelley as long as I've been following you guys, as far as I can remember.
Yeah, I mean, it really kind of went to another level about 6 years ago. We really invested into the people and the infrastructure on the back end, and some of that was through, hey, look at this, this shift that was going on in the marketplace, and we talked a little bit about some of the challenges with that Rico and Icon integration, and you see that all the time, right? There's
Sure.
Things that are going on and whatever, but it creates opportunity. Which when we saw the talent that was there. We recruited some people that have a very strong comfort level in selling production. They might not be analysts, but they saw what we were building. They liked the fact we had the analysts. They liked the fact that maybe they didn't have to go to one of their manufacturer's partners for support and get in line and wait 6 or 8, 10, 12 weeks for somebody to be able to fly out to help, complement them on a sales cycle. And they're like, wow, you guys have all that right at the local level, plus all the other things that we do. And it really just helped us to get a lot of momentum. But some people are a lot more comfortable in that space and having those kinds of conversations. And so, we have some SMEs on the front end that that's what they do 100% of the time. And then you complement the analysts and the media and strong technical support. And it's made recruitment easy, especially when you buy forward on supplies during times like COVID with supply chain issues. And we're loaded to the nines with toners and things like that at the local level, where maybe some of the partners are struggling to get the toner to the client in a timely manner. It creates opportunity. And so all of that lends towards an easier recruiting experience.
Oh, I would imagine. And just before, as we wrap it up, you mentioned you guys do focus vertically, and I'm just curious, with some of the production, where do you guys find the sweet spots, or where's your focus vertically when we look at production?
We have a lot of production in manufacturing. It's been very good. We do quite a bit of print for pay. We have several acute care facilities with implants that we have in there. That's been a strong place for us in the medical vertical. So, and then some larger companies that I've got a company that they manufacture chocolate. It's like that's what they do. It's like, hey, well, what better way than to throw a bunch of software and some high-end color around and customize that experience to complement the great chocolate you guys are kicking out the door. So I mean, there's so many different areas, but I'd say manufacturing has been huge, and all the CRD implants that we can do inside of those different areas. We've got some wholesale manufacturers as well that have some large, and it's print for pay. I mean, print for pay sometimes can be challenging because everybody's just driving to the bottom, and so it's like we're trying to focus more on bringing in some workflow during the middle of a sales cycle so that we can get control of the account prior to the box coming up, which is always on everybody's radar. So, but that's about it.
Very cool. Well, this has been great, Brian. I know you have to jump off. You got something else you got to run to, but this has been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to maybe popping out there and visiting you guys out there in Washington at some point. But thank you so much for taking time and chatting with us about your production print program and Kelley Connect.
Thanks, Andy. Appreciate your time.
Have a great one. Take care.
Take care.